horrible.
Not a problem. So what I'm going to do is,
I think it's your.
On the
Stay with it.
volume down.
say that
Turn
again?
the volume down. Turn it down a little more and speak. Now speak.
Yep, let me go ahead and do that. Can, for whatever reason, let's see here. How about now? Is that better? No?
It's very. Turn it down.
Can you hear me? I did. I turned it down. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to ask you, Alder Douglas, if you wouldn't mind reading the agenda for us. And I'm going to delegate you my authority as a chair so you can run this meeting given the circumstances. So I'm going to give it over to you.
I need for it to be about speaking.
Say that again?
See me, I can pull it up my email and do it like that.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Hold on. All right. Hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right. This is crazy. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll bring the meeting to order. Automatic notice. New Haven. The Tax Abatement Committee will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020 at 6 p.m. via video conference. Meeting can be viewed at https://bit.ly/3C32B U small o, or by phone at 888-475-4499. Webinar ID 987-9693-2116. The phone password is 744-280-563. If viewed meeting password required, contact Al Lucas at newhavenct.gov. Michael Coriella of the item number one. Michael Coriella of the 180 Center Street Corporation is requesting assistance from the New Haven Board of Alders concerning account number 10568 LM 202000347. Item number one. Excuse me, let me back up. We will now introduce the alders on this committee. I'm Frank Douglas, filling in for the chair. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. This is Jose Crespo. I'm alder for the 16th Ward for Haven. I am the chair of the tax abatement. I have delegated my colleague with the right to host this meeting. Thank you.
I can't hear. What did you say? I couldn't hear what he said.
Abby Roth, Ward 7.
Campton
Frank
Singh,
Douglas, Ward 2.
Campton Singh, Ward 5.
Kimberly Edwards, Ward 19. Jody Ortiz, Ward 17.
Is that everybody? All right,
Yes.
moving forward. Order number 1, order concerning real property taxes of Mary Abad on her motor vehicle tax account numbers 50233, 50156, 50160, 50234, 50155, and 50159. LM 201-90760. Item number 2, order concerning real property taxes of Lucinda Allen on her motor vehicle tax account numbers 80422, 51488, and 51414. LM 202-0096. Item 3, order abating, deferring collection of real property taxes due from Harold Parrott on his residence for a grand list of 2018 and 2019, LM 20200-223. Item 4, order abating, deferring collection of real property taxes due from Edward J. Shaw Jr. on his residence grand list of 2019, LM 20200-324. Item 5, order abating, deferring collection of real property taxes due from Ann T. DeMayo on her residence grand list of 2019, LM 20200-358. Item 6, order abating, deferring collection of real property taxes due from William T. and Mary N. Owens on their residence for grand list of 2019, LM 202-00-359. Last, item 7, if you need disability related accommodation, please call 3 business days in advance, 946-8122, voice, or 946-8522 TTY. This meeting can be viewed on https://bit.ly/3 small c 32 capital B capital U small o, or by phone at 888-475-4499. Webinar ID is 987-9693-2121. Phone password is 744-280-563. If viewed meeting password required, contact Al Lucas at newhavenct.gov. So, first item before us is, like I said, Michael Correlia of the 180 Center Street Corporation. He is requesting assistance from the New Haven Board of Alders concerning an account as forwarded, 10568, LM 20200-347. Is Mr. Corollia, is he present? Hello.
Hold on. Yes, I am.
Okay.
How are you?
Can you present your case, please?
Again, my name is Mike Carolio, and I'm the pastor at the 180 Center. We've been in the New Haven area for almost 10 years on Grand Avenue, and we just got a building around the corner, sort of from the city / a lady who wanted to get rid of it and needs a whole lot of work. Besides a church function, we have an 18-month program that we help people get off of drugs, mainly and alcohol. And we've been pretty successful in the years that we've been in as a church. We purchased this building for $1 last year. And my lawyer called the tax office and asked when was the filing date so we can file and so we wouldn't have to pay property tax for the coming year, which was this past July. I went down there and I asked the same question and I got the forms and they told me by November 1st. I didn't even own the building as of yet, but I wanted to make sure that I made the deadline. And zoning really wasn't approved yet, but I figured I'd take a chance and file my papers so I can get exempt. And if zoning didn't happen, then I would just cross another bridge when if that happened. So I got all my paperwork in by October 31st before I went to closing, and to find, in July 1st, I got a bill in the mail, and I don't understand why. And I think it's because they say now, and I don't see this on the form that I filed, that you have to own the building by a certain time before you file the paperwork and all this other stuff. Again, I know it's a he said, she said, but I did ask the question. I did my part of filing my papers even before the zoning gave me my approval, which we did get approved, by the way. And then, so at this point, I don't think I need to or should be paying these property taxes. That's basically my case.
Wow. Okay. All right. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the committee? Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Thank you, I'm going to mispronounce your name, Coriella.
Yeah, Carolio.
Okay, for explaining what happened. And were your taxes, were they for, you filed on, your purchase was completed for the building on October 31st?
Correct, and that was the same day I filed the tax exempt application.
And then, so your tax, when you got your tax bill, it was for, did you have to pay taxes from November 1st through?
I did. I had to pay them until July of 2020. I did pay that, yes.
And so your request was for the coming years?
Correct.
Okay. And the taxes you paid for last fiscal year, was that a full amount or was? No,
I'm gonna. She owed a little bit of back taxes. Sorry.
Can you hear me? Testing.
Alder Crespo, you have to mute because they're in the middle of testifying.
Right, so I was going to say that we do have the assessor's office available, I think, to provide info. Okay. So I'm going to ask them to come forward and provide some additional information in case the gentleman's not able to answer that.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll defer then to the assessor's office. Thank you.
Okay, Douglas, you may proceed chairing this meeting.
I'm having a problem here. I'm not understanding. I didn't hear what he said.
He said you may continue or proceed to sharing the meeting. He just wanted us to know that the tax assessor's office was on the line and could answer questions for us.
Okay. Okay. So are there any questions from the committee? Any other questions? Alder Edwards.
Alder Roth, is it okay if I defer back to Alder Roth first because she had a continuation, Alder Douglas, and then I'll go after?
Absolutely.
Sure, thank you, Alder Edwards and Alder Douglas. Maybe I just thought it might be helpful for the assessor's office, maybe just to give some context, because that might answer some of the questions. So I think someone is on the line and maybe they could just chime in. Thank you.
Yes, as acting chair, I would allow that, yes.
Sure. Hi, Mike Condon here from the assessor's office, address 545 Whitney Avenue.
Hello, Mike.
Hi, how you guys doing? Just to give a little bit more background, as the gentleman stated, when he submitted the paperwork on October 31st, they hadn't yet closed on the property, even though they were doing so maybe that same day or the next day. The problem is, though, that November 1st deadline is for the October 1st, 2019 grant list.
Right.
So what you're doing basically, if you submit for a property that you purchase after October 1st, is you're essentially, in the eyes of the law at least, you're asking to have someone else's property exempted because they weren't the owners on the assessment date. And that's really where the issue comes in. There was no issue as far as the timeliness of their filing or anything like that. I mean, they did everything they were supposed to, but in the assessor's office, we can't consider their application until October 1st, 2020, at which point they are the owners.
All right. So in other words, the timing was off. Yeah, I understand. I think we all understand. Okay. All right. Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the committee? Anyone else? Okay, so we'll.
Myself, Alder Douglas, I had a question for clarification. I just, I kind of wanted to know from Mr. Caroleo, what was your real ask of us tonight? Like, what was your true ask of our committee?
Okay. Again, just to make it clear, now, again, I'm trying to say this in the right, I could have went to closing on the building anytime, you know, because I didn't wait for too many things to happen. So I chose October 31st because I can't afford to pay those taxes, you know, for the following July. I could, if they're telling me, and they, you know, I understand now, they said you have to own the building, I think, by October 1st. If I would have known that, I would have went to closing October 1st. I had that in mind the whole time, because a $10,000 hit is a $10,000 hit, and we're here to help the community. Now, again, I'm not looking to bare my heart here, but I'm a pastor. I work 7 days a week in that place. I don't even get paid. All I'm trying to do is help people in the community. I don't take a salary from that place. I put a lot of hours in, and for me to go, you know, pay something that I really worked hard of not getting there. I get it now what they're saying, but it wasn't so clear, my lawyer or myself, because I conveyed with him too, and he never got that saying that it had to be owned by October 1st. You know, after the fact, I heard that, but it doesn't even say it on the application itself. If it does, it's not that clear. All it says in big letters is before November 1st. So my ask of you is not to be paying these property taxes from this forth forward.
And what is the total amount of your taxes?
I don't have it with me, but I think it's like 9,600, something like that.
Okay, because I would, basically my ask was, were you asking for a full amount? Were you asking for proration? So you're looking for a full
amount. And I say that because I got, again, they gave me the building for $1. It needs a whole lot of work. I already had to pay like around, I don't know how much. She had back taxes and I had to pay to be the rest of the year, which I wasn't aware of when I took the building. So I already, you know, swallowed that hard, and to go swallow again, it's kind of hard. You know what I mean?
I totally understand that. And I don't want to sound like I'm being condescending or preaching.
Mhm.
It could have been what the question that was asked, not to blame anyone. However, if your question was, when is this due? They gave you the right answer. Maybe someone could have elaborated more, or maybe they thought you had an understanding of what you were actually applying for. So I don't want to totally beat up on them either. So
No, I'm not looking to beat up on, please. I just, again, the form itself says November 1st, nice and big. It doesn't say anything about owning the building on October 1st. And, you know, it just wasn't explained to me. I would have done that. It wasn't that hard for me to switch over. So I ain't looking to blame on anybody. I'm just looking to help New Haven for the opiate crisis that they have, do my part. and make it a little easier so I don't have to, I mean, the building itself needs a whole lot of money. You know, to go bring out another $9,600 is an awful lot of money.
Okay, thank you. Alder Douglas, I'm going to turn it back over to you, but I want to let you know that Alder Ruff does have her hand up.
All right, thank you. And so we'll move on to Alder Roth. We'll recognize Alder Roth.
Thank you, Alder Douglas. I just had two additional questions. One is sort of a follow-up from Alder Edwards. If you, if say the form had been filed, you know, September 30th, then is there no tax on it or just a lower amount of tax? I guess I'm not clear on what the difference is between what you would have been taxed had that been filed pre-October, or had you owned it pre-October 1st.
Are you talking to me?
Whoever can best answer that.
No, it's,
I
yeah,
can take that.
good.
Yeah, if they had owned the property on October 1st and they submitted the application on time and the application was accepted, as in they were deemed had a qualified use and nonprofit status and all of that, then it would be no taxes too. It'd be fully exempt.
Thank you. And then my final question, I guess, is I don't know how the nonprofit is structured, so I don't know if it's you personally who pays, if it's the church who pays, or if you are kind of the entity of the church. And maybe if you can just clarify that.
You're talking to me. I guess you're talking to me.
Yes.
Yeah. That would be the church. The church would be. I mean, my name's all over the church, so it's me with the church. But we are a 501c3, you know, church exemption. So it wouldn't be under my name because I wouldn't be exempt. It has to be under a church name. So it is the church.
Thank you.
Okay.
Alder Douglas,
Yes, Don.
Hayden Committee staff, just for historical information to the committee, because a lot of them haven't sat on it before. This is a fairly common occurrence with nonprofits, that they don't realize when they have to do it as opposed to normal for the upcoming year. So historically, what the committee has done is recommended that the taxes be forgiven because of the fact they are a nonprofit.
Okay. All right. So, okay. All right. Any other questions from the committee? So we'll deliberate on this and we will have our discussion. I see Alder Kim Edwards' hand is raised. Yes.
I'm raising it for Alder Singh had his hand raised. I'm sorry.
Alder Singh.
Thank you, Alder Douglas. My question probably is for Michael Corden. I understand what Don said, but going back, is it legal for this committee to give an abatement for a property that wasn't owned by the nonprofit at that time? You know, that's where the law goes with the, you know, with this parameter. Where's the parameter of the laws fall, you know, for giving an abatement for which they didn't own back then?
Sure. So as far as the committee is concerned, I'd have to defer to Don on that. I can speak to the assessor's office in that there's no legal mechanism for us to exempt the property in this case. So in terms of the exemption, it's not something that could legally be accomplished. But as far as the committee is concerned, that's a whole different matter, and I'd have to defer to Don on that one.
Yeah, the Board of Alders has the authority to forgive the taxes. And it's based on the recommendation of the committee, whether or not to do it or not. It is legal because it's been done before.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Don.
Okay, thank you. So, Mike, I have a question. So, in the case like this, have you experienced in the past this type of situation? And if you have, my question is, what can you and your department do to inform these people way prior to this happening again?
Sure. So, I mean, honestly, I can't remember a year that's gone by where this hasn't happened in at least one case. And really, the only way that we could head this off would be if the nonprofits were to come to us prior to even purchasing or entering a contract on the property. Because once they've already purchased it, I mean, there's not a whole lot we can do there. If they come to us beforehand, then maybe we could advise them on maybe the most optimal time of year as far as the grand list is concerned for them to actually sign the papers and record the transfer on the land records. That's something we could do. But really, if someone purchases the property partway through the year, it's kind of already a done deal at that point. It's because it's not a matter of them not having filed the paperwork on time. It's really the timeliness of the acquisition of the property. That's the problem.
Okay. Now, so I may have missed the prior question to this effect. Now, the property owned prior to this entity owning it, did they pay their taxes?
You talking to me?
Yes.
Yes, they paid some, and I had to pay the rest to go to closing. And to follow up on what Michael just said, I did come before I closed on the property because I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to pay it. I came in, I don't know, it was August or September to try to find out what the thing was, and that's when my lawyer called, and we both got the same answer. So we were both surprised.
So what did you end up paying?
I'm gonna say I definitely paid a quarter. So January to July. Whatever.
I need to know exactly what
Right.
we need to know exactly what you paid,
Right.
Brian.
I'm gonna say I don't have it with me. It's probably in my office, but I'm gonna say roughly about $8,000.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Moving forward, any other questions? Any questions from the rest of the committee? Anyone?
Alder Roth.
Sorry to have one final question. And it sort of plays off of what you just asked Alder Douglas to Mr. Condon. If the date was changed, the due date to October 1st, would that get rid of the problem because people would always have to own it by the time they filed it?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and if it would get rid of the problem, is there any reason why the due date has to be November 1st rather than October 1st?
Well, it's a state deadline, so we don't have a whole lot of say as far as that's concerned. Just thinking on the spot here, I think it would probably alleviate that weird overlap period that we're experiencing here, but it might cause another problem wherein you would have someone purchasing a property in the second half of September, for example, and they would have a very short turnaround time in terms of actually getting all the paperwork together and getting the application in by October 1st.
Thank you.
Okay.
Alder Douglas, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I phoned in. I think I'm able to proceed, and I think folks can hear me now better.
Yes.
Well, I will relinquish my authority back to the chair.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I just would like to entertain any further questions that you may have for Mr. Carrillo, Mr. Michael.
Yeah, that's fine.
Any further questions from the committee? Okay, so I guess we do have the request, which is Mr. Michael, you like the entire tax abatement for that property. We understand that it has been done in the past, and we have Michael that confirmed, and also Donald Hayden to confirm that it's been done in the past. So we'll go ahead and you can certainly stick around, or we can go ahead and proceed until the end, and you can either get a phone call from Don by tomorrow to see what the committee has determined what they're going to do.
That's fine. If Don doesn't mind, we can touch base tomorrow if that's okay.
Yeah, I'll send you an email.
All right, Don, I appreciate that.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Michael.
Thank you,
so
thank
now,
you, Board of Elders.
Yep, I'll go ahead and now, folks, for item LM 201-90760, which is order concerning real property taxes of Mary Abad on her motor vehicle tax account number 50233, 50156, 50160, 50234, 50155, and 50159. We can have Miss Mary Abad join us, and she may state her case for the record. Name and address for the record, and then state her case if she's present, of course.
She is not present at the time.
Okay, so we're gonna, thank you, Lucas. We're gonna go ahead and move on to item 3. LM 2020000096, which is order concerning real property taxes of Lucinda Allen on her motor vehicle tax account number 80422, 51488, and 51414. If we can have Miss Lucinda Allen, if she is present, of course. She can certainly step up and name and address for the record, and then state your case.
Hi, my name is Lucinda Allen, and I'm calling about I had a 2016 Nissan that I owe taxes on, and I'm not able to pay it, and that's why I was calling to get help with it, please.
Okay, and what is it, 2016 Nissan, and
Yes.
you're unable to pay the taxes?
Correct, yes.
So what are you asking of this committee to do?
I need help to pay it because I've been trying to get it paid, but I can't because I'm disabled and everything, and I'm having trouble trying to, get them taxes out of my name. It's hard right now.
Are you currently owning the vehicle? Are you currently driving the vehicle?
No, sir. I think that vehicle been out of my hands for I think about 2 years now.
Okay, so that would have been 2018. Okay,
Yes.
and so I would go ahead and ask the committee if they have any questions. We'll go ahead and entertain them now.
Okay.
Alder Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question would be, Ms. Allen, is if you had, when I look at your account, it shows you have a total due of $1,267.94. And
Correct.
it looks like the taxes were $923.08, and the interest was $344.86.
Uh-huh.
I probably gonna, this might be reiteration, but what could you technically come up with, or what is your ask of us for that dollar amount? How much were you able or willing to pay to try to settle this? Like, what is your ask of our committee today?
I would ask if I can just get help to pay it because after I pay my rent, I do be left with $200, but that's not enough when I have to buy food and everything, to go with everything that I owe. So I really need help with that, please.
Madam Edwards, I just wanted to ask any follow-up questions, or was this sufficient? The response was sufficient?
I was looking for more of a dollar amount that she was possibly willing to pay, or thought she could possibly pay if she could, but.
Oh, if I have to pay that at least that $200, I could do that, but it won't be until on the 3rd of the month, when I get my disability money. If I could just give the $200 to help, I just need help, please.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Allen.
Thank you, hon.
Any additional questions? Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Alder Edwards. Any additional questions from the committee?
Yes, I don't have a way to raise my hand here, so.
Sure, Alder Douglas.
So, Miss Allen,
Yes,
are you trying to register a car?
I will be trying to get one soon, but right now I can't. I'm trying to. I need one because it's hard for me to get around because of my knees and everything.
So you haven't pursued trying to register a car now?
No, not at this time, sir. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
All right,
Thank
hon.
you, Alder
Thank
Douglas. So, Lucinda, what is the total amount that you owe?
I believe it's that 1,200.
Okay. And how many times have you come before our committee asking for assistance?
I think I've been here before. I believe one time. I remember being there one time, I believe. Yeah, I think.
Okay. Okay. Because I'm wondering if you've come here more than once, maybe about 3 times before. Given the situation that you're currently in, it's almost as if, it's, I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe it'll be a wonderful thing to try to assess prior to purchasing a vehicle to see if you can pay the taxes, simply because then if you purchase another one, you're going to fall into the same predicament.
I hope not, sir. I understand what you're saying, though, but I really hope not. I mean,
Okay.
enough is enough. Enough is enough to get set back like that.
Okay, so any additional questions from or any comments from the committee? Any questions from the committee? Any additional comments from Madam Lucinda Allen?
No. Oh.
Okay. So let me just look at the total. It's 1,267 with 94 cents. And you're asking for us to waive a total of 1,067 and 94 so that you can pay $200. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, my dear.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna do the best I can.
All right. So I will go ahead and we'll have a determination later at the end of the committee whether or not we'll go ahead and entertain that, or if we're going to deny it and ask you to pay the full amount.
Okay.
Okay. And
All
you
right,
can certainly contact Donald Hayden tomorrow. Actually, he'll reach out to you with an email letting you what will be the decision of the committee.
She can call me because her daughter has the computer.
Got it. Okay. So Mike, Lucinda, you can certainly call Donald tomorrow and find out what was the committee's decision.
Okay, my dear. Thank you so much. So do I hang up now?
Yes.
All right, my dear. Thank you. Thanks, Don.
Appreciate it. I would like to now call folks for the LM 20200324, item number 4. Pardon me. Item number 3, order abating deferring collection of real property taxes due from Harold Parrott on his residence for grant list 2018 to 2019. This is item LM 20200223. Mr. Harold, if you can just state your name and address for the record, and then state your case. He's still muted. If we can have Mr. Harold unmuted.
I believe that Mr. Lucas has to, because he's on the phone. I don't know if there's a way to unmute it on the phone.
No, he has to unmute.
Oh, okay.
Right. If you dial *6, you'll be able to unmute yourself, Mr. Harold.
I don't know what's going on with him. Let me see if I can call him. See if
there we go.
Okay, he's in. There we go.
Okay, my
Mr. Harold?
name is, yes.
Yeah, proceed.
My name is Harold Parrott. I live at 145 Concord Street in New Haven, Connecticut. I would like to defer my taxes for 3.5 years. I'm retired. I can't afford to pay them on my Social Security. I was using my retirement money to pay the taxes up until now. I was going to get a new job. I got prostate cancer. I went through 65 treatments, and then I went into a deep depression. So all I can say is that if I could, I hope I'm explaining this correctly. I'd like to defer them for 3.5 years, and then once my mortgage is paid, which it will be paid in 3.5 years, I can go ahead and make my double payments a month to pay off the taxes.
Okay.
I hope that's
So we've heard your case. I appreciate that. And now I'm just going to open up the floor to my colleagues who, if they have any questions.
certainly.
And I see Alder Edwards with a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to know if Mr. Parrott's case qualifies for this kind of deferment fully. Is it one of those deferments where it's automatically qualified as far as income and paperwork is concerned?
He qualified, or he meets the state guidelines for the program.
Okay,
Just a little clarification, it's not for a specific period. It's basically done year by year, and when he can start afford paying against it, he can pay it back or not. And the city gets their money when the house is sold or changes hands.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Hayden. That is my only question, Chair Crespo.
Thank you, Alder Edwards. Any further questions? I thought I saw Alder Douglas's hand. Or maybe
Thank you,
not.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Parrott, are you a veteran?
Am I what?
Are you a vet?
No, unfortunately, no.
Okay.
My brothers are, I'm not.
All right. Well, sorry for all the mishap going on in your life. So you're trying to, let me understand this. You're trying to, you said defer your taxes for 3 years.
Yeah.
I think, Don, somebody just answered that. We do it by year basis.
Okay.
So I don't know if we can really do a 3-year deferment.
Just
Okay.
a clarification, if I
Yes.
might. He has to reply each year for the new taxes.
Yeah.
When he's able to pay those previous years is when he can start making payments if he so desires. There is no requirement for him to make it because it's supposed to give him a breathing room in order to get his life in order.
Okay.
That's why it gets put into land records so that when it changes hands, the buyer, whatever money the buyer is paying, the lawyer pays the city those back taxes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's clear. That clears it up. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Parrott.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Alder Douglas. I recognize Alder Roth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much, Mr. Parrott, for explaining your situation, which has been hard. I just had one question. It's really perhaps for Don Hayden, based on what was in our notes about a reverse mortgage. I wasn't sure how that would be relevant to whether or not we could grant a tax abatement.
You can grant a tax abatement. The problem has usually been with mortgages and reverse mortgages. They have to work out with the lending company that they can do that, because some of the mortgages have a clause in it that says you will maintain your taxes. And they do that because if they fall behind, the mortgage company will pay those taxes because they don't want the city involved in any type of foreclosure action, because we get our money first and they don't like that.
Right. Yeah.
And in this particular case, he has been in contact with his mortgage company and has worked out a deal with them.
And I couldn't hear the end of what you said. It would be fine. It's not a problem.
Yes.
Okay.
He has
Great,
talked to his
great.
reverse mortgage company.
Great. That answers my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alder Roth. Alder Singh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is probably for Don. So if this deferment approved, this would go in the land record, so the city would not file for foreclosure and tax non-payment of taxes.
Correct. When a tax abatement is approved for all, it's basically the same as if you paid your tax. So the city does not foreclose. You get a letter once a year. And I know when they send them out, all of a sudden my phone starts ringing that if you don't pay your taxes, they could foreclose. These are the people that have had a tax abatement because computer can't identify who has a tax abatement and who does not.
Yeah, he's asking for
So
a
the tax office is
deferral.
aware of that.
He's asking for a deferral of payment, not an abatement, to spread it out in the next 3 years. That's
No,
what.
no, the program doesn't work that way.
Okay.
The program basically abates the taxes until the homeowner is able to pay it off. And there is no time constraint as to when he can pay it off. And there is no constraint the number of times that they can request this because of the fact they go in each year into the land records, which says how much taxes they owe. When they go to sell the house, they have to do a deed rundown, and they will find them, and the lawyer knows that the city has to be paid from the proceeds of the sale.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Singh. Any additional questions at this time? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Harold Parrott. Actually, Alder Douglas.
Yes, this is question out of the way to Don. Don, is there a way that we, this is not pertaining to this case, but to prior cases, is there a way that we can get a record of times people come back for tax abatement? I see it on some cases. It'll show that they come back, but is there a tally of how many times people come in the past? And can we have
Yes,
that?
I keep a record of it.
Can we have that
I
knowledge?
keep a record in their file.
It's in their file.
Yes.
So could you?
I have some people that do it once or twice. They may do it once and they may not do it again for about 2 or 3 years because again, their financial situation has deteriorated. And I have some people who are on disability that they got the house from their parents and they just don't have the money.
Right. Okay.
That's why they're using the property as the collateral for the tax abatement.
Right. Okay. Can you think that could be included in the future so we know beforehand?
Yes.
I mean, through the
Yeah,
chair. Through the chair.
Yes. I would certainly ask for that, Don, if we can go ahead and do that for Alder Douglas's request.
It'll be added into the memos.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Don.
Anytime, Alder Douglas. And seeing that there are no more questions, I would go ahead and thank Mr. Parrott for his time. And we will certainly, at the end of the committee meeting, we'll go ahead and address this accordingly. And Mr. Hayden will be able to give you specifics as to what was the position that we took this evening. So you're all set, Mr. Parrott.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
I would like to call the folks for item 4, LM 20200324, order abating deferring collection of real property taxes due from Ann T. DeMayo on her residence grant list 2019. And do we know if she is on the line? I don't see her.
Yeah, she is qualified.
Okay. So I guess my question to Al and Don, do we need her to be present to testify even though she qualifies for the deferment?
No,
Technically, we can't.
By past practices, the committee has not required people who have already received a tax abatement. A lot of times they're elderly and they can't make it back, or they're not technologically astute enough to basically call in.
Got it.
'Cause I
Okay,
know in
so
Ms.
having-
Mayo's case, she's got about 5 years after her husband died.
Gotcha. Thank you for those details, Don. Let's go ahead and move to item number 5, LM 20200358. This is order abating deferring collection of property. Nope, we actually did that already. Sorry about that.
No.
Item number 6, order abating deferring collection of real property taxes due from William T. and Mary Ann Owens on the residence for Grand List 2019, and this is item LM 202000359. Do we have them on the line?
No, they're not. They
Okay.
are all repeat.
And do,
There is one thing that I've heard from Mr. Shaw. He is one of the very few that has worked out an arrangement with his mortgage company, so he doesn't have to pay the taxes, but he does pay other things toward it. His mortgage company is looking whether or not it's been approved, and if it is approved, to have it go through UC at the next meeting so that we can expedite the paperwork for that needs to go to his mortgage company.
got it. So I think I must have skipped over order abating real property taxes for Edward Shaw, but you just explained that was item number 4. So let's go ahead and jump to, my apologies. That was item 7. So I apologize. The numbers are a little bit weird here on my agenda, but we just looked at item number 7, which was Mr. and Mrs. Owens. So now I would like to entertain any questions or comments from the public. Does anybody from the public wish to testify at this time? Does anyone from the public wish to testify at this time? And finally, does anybody wish to testify from the public at this time? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we end the public portion of this.
I heard a motion. I've heard a second. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicated with an aye.
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 The ayes have it. The public portion of this meeting has been closed. Committee, what say you? Would anybody like to move any items?
I move the first item.
Second.
The first item has been moved in second. And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. I do apologize. Do we need to do anything for that particular first item?
Discussion.
Go ahead.
Albert Douglas.
Yes. This is a tricky, it's kind of a weird case here. I mean, I understand that, there was a misunderstanding and that Mr. Coriola, you catch my drift.
Carolea.
I guess, I don't know. I just think, I know there was an error made on his part because he didn't fully understand. But I mean, if there's something that we can do to come halfway point, I would like a discussion about that with the committee, if the committee would permit that. Otherwise, being that they are a nonprofit and they do some great work for the residents that use this facility. I don't have as much information in front of me to verify that. Is there any way that we could postpone this or put this to the side until there's a little more investigation as to, exactly how much this entity is providing services for the residents of New Haven?
So what I'm hearing from you, Alder Douglas, is that you want to table this item.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Before we do so, I would like to entertain Alder Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mhm.
I was going to ask, I know that we have, or the committee has in the past, sometimes forgiven things like this. I'm not trying to totally penalize anyone, but I do think people sometimes need to take accountability and do their due diligence. I love the Lord and he's a man of God, but I just feel like, well, we have nonprofit entities, we give them abatements, we give them all kinds of things because they're providing services for the community per se. My suggestion was going to be to, recommend that we charge them something, at least 2,500. In my opinion, is not a lot out of 10,000 because it is not our fault that the lawyer could have even looked into it a little more. Or maybe somebody could have simply Googled something on the state of Connecticut and then cross-reference it like we do every day with the city of New Haven, as far as when this property needs to be owned or, procured to get the right dates. That is my personal opinion, and that is my suggestion. And 2,500. And I'm going to now defer back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Edwards. Any further comments from the committee? Alder Singh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. After hearing the testimony and look at this, I know he's a church nonprofit and he has a building now. This is a new project he's trying to acquire, new building to acquire to expand. He had an attorney because this was going, a year or so. So he had counsel advising him. And I felt he's a nonprofit. Going forward, he'd enjoy the nonprofit status going forward. But for me, going back, I'll have to pay the taxes. Going forward, he'd enjoying that benefits as a nonprofit. But for now, it's a new venture acquiring, So that's my opinion. My opinion is that he continued to pay the previous year tax when he didn't own the property. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Got it. Thank you, Alder Singh. Any additional comments? Alder Roth.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I mean, I think everyone makes good points. I hope he didn't pay his lawyer very much because his lawyer didn't help him very much. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I agree, Alder Douglas. I know nothing about this church, and I'm sure it's a good church, but I guess how much it does, it is a nonprofit. Yeah, I guess at some point I agree with the accountability, and I think it's also what Alder saying, like a rule is a rule. I feel badly because I think he got bad advice from counsel. So I would be very amenable to sort of not making him pay the full amount, but to pay something. I do think we should think about what can the city, can the city add that date to the forms that people fill out so people kind of are on notice of that? Do we train, is there some sort of nonprofit training that, to somehow get the word out to make it more accessible to people if this happens that often? So that's separate from what to do in this case, but I do think it would be worth our time to think of if there's a way to spread that word as to that October 1st date.
Can't hear it. You're on mute.
Yes, so I appreciate you, Alder Roth. Any additional questions?
I have
the
a question,
committee?
Alder Ortiz.
Alder
does.
Ortiz.
The only thing I have a problem with is that he was very vague on the amount that he has paid for the taxes. He didn't say, he didn't have an exact amount. He said maybe 8,000. I think we really need to see how much he has paid before we can give him an abatement.
Yeah.
Alder Douglas, Alder Ortiz, I appreciate your comment. What I would like to say is that We do have many variations in thought processes. I believe we certainly can further investigate this matter. So without delaying this any further, why don't we table this item and come back to it next month? And in the interim, we can certainly have at least 30 days to conduct some research. Alder Edwards, is that your hand up? Okay, so if anyone is in disagreement, I believe state your case now, but I think if we go ahead and proceed with Alder Douglas's concern to table the item, I will put it to a vote. So if anyone is in agreement to table this item, indicate it with an aye.
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 Before we continue, I saw Alder Edwards. Yes, Madam Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want a clarification. With tabling this item, are we agreeing to table it pending our investigation? Meaning, I came up with 2,500 based on if he paid 10,000, and like Alder Ortiz and Alder Douglas said, we're going to get the exact numbers and then come back to this. Correct?
Correct. So you say 2,500. We may decide to tell them 5,000, potentially 7,500. But of course, we want to show a little bit of charity, if you will. But we want to be certain to make our due diligence to find out every single detail, come up with an agreement, and then go ahead and proceed with the best response.
I'm fine with that. I just wanted to make sure we were not just tabling it to start this process all over, and that we were just
absolutely
our numbers together and then going to confer again to make a decision. Thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely, Alder Edwards. Alder Singh.
For the purpose of this case, and I heard respect to Alder Douglas, and I'm in favor of splitting it. If the taxes, whatever the tax of the year is 10,000, have him bear 50% of that, and we can, abate 50%. That's my thought going forward, so we can close this case and and have him take some responsibility.
Absolutely. So what I'm going to do is we'll table this item. I'm going to ask for the committee to cast a vote. And I see your hand, Alder Roth. And once we table this item, we can certainly talk about what should we be doing for this particular item. And when we bring it back next month, we can certainly proceed to make the decision that the committee wants to do.
No, before, if Alder Douglas would like to go and advocate for 50% of the taxes, and we'll forget 50, so we can close this matter out. That's what I'm discussing or putting out to my colleagues here.
Gotcha. Before I recognize you, Alder Douglas, let me go ahead. Is your response directly to Alder Singh?
Yes, it is.
Go ahead.
So my response is, I believe tabling it would probably suffice to the same thing. We could make a decision during that process.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Douglas. Thank you, Alder Singh. Any follow-up, Alder Singh?
No. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Yep, I recognize Alder Roth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I guess I'm not sure if we are tabling it to just find out what the total amount owed is, and then we'll split that difference, or we're tabling it to kind of see how much charitable work the church does in the community, and then kind of say, based on that, how much does the person deserve? While I appreciate the latter, like why, we want to make sure this person really is legit, I don't know that that's actually a proper basis it would be too arbitrary in my view. And if it's the former, I feel like in the past, we've often, since we have time before we vote, we could find out what those exact numbers were, and then just say, let's take, if we could decide tonight what percentage, we could just, based on that number, figure out the percentage, and then vote in in 2 meetings down on it.
Okay, so I would like to ask Don his input.
Yeah, he currently owes $9,322.32 in taxes for Grand List 19. At the closing, the previous owner paid another $9,300 plus a little bit less. I don't know how much of that he had to pay as part of the closing, but we know what this year's is, because of course he wasn't the owner last year. So, and normally what happens is when you have a closing, from the date of the closing to June 30th is the taxes that the purchaser has to pay because they've been paid already by the previous owner.
So Don, I appreciate all that information. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and say, let's table the item and let's ask if the committee has any questions for Mr. Michael Corriella to submit them through Donald and to ask those particulars so that we can have a better assessment. And then going forward, we'll have an actual percentage of how much he has to pay, if any. Is that fair for the committee? Okay, let's cast it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? One nay. Any abstention? No abstentions. The ayes have it. Items has been tabled. Let's move on to item number. Actually, I'll entertain. Does anybody want to move an item?
I move item number 2.
So moved.
Second.
What do you desire? And what would you like to do with that particular item, Alder Roth?
Was this, no, okay, I don't think this person was here.
Nope.
Correct? And so, and I feel like she has been on for several times on the agenda.
Is this her second meeting or third meeting?
Third.
Third. So what would you like to do with this particular item?
I think we move to deny it.
So move to
Because-
withdraw.
Withdraw. Yes, please.
Okay. So any further discussion from the committee?
I'll second on that.
Okay. So all in favor to move item 2 to withdraw?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. Item 2 has been moved to withdraw. Committee, what say you for the remainder of the items?
I move item number 3.
Oh. Item 3 has been moved. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
Yes. Alder Douglas. Yeah.
Yep, all right.
I don't know about this one either.
So I think, Don, if you can enlighten us, I believe this item 3, Lucinda Allen, has been before us in more than one occasion. It was brought to my attention that she's probably been before us 3 times already, and there's a trend of maybe doing this every 2 years, coming before the committee.
She came before the committee in 2017, and she came again in 2018.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is her third request for the same thing.
So
Different cars, but the same request.
Different cars, but the same thing. Okay. So it's almost as if for lack of a better term, attempting to deceive the system a bit, maybe, or it could be legitimately that she needs assistance, but I don't know. But given that trend, what does the committee want to do? I'll take any recommendations from the committee. Alder Douglas.
I recommend that we deny this case. We're not going to be helping her if we prolong this. She's just not going to be able to take care of her debt. It's just going to continue to go on. We've seen these cases, and many times. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but what it is what it is.
Well, Alder Douglas, I appreciate your frank. I appreciate you for being frank. Alder Edwards. Alder Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Great joke. Sorry.
Need a little water?
My question was going to also be that, a little different from Alder Douglas, but I was going to say, okay, people do have situations. We should not be used as a crutch, or this committee should not be taken advantage of. The most I personally would like to propose, if we were to remove anything, would to simply remove her interest. If we were a committee to remove any fees, because I meant, like you said, we're not being mean, and people do have situations, but when does it become, a game? So that would be my proposal, which is to delete the interest, which was like 300 and something dollars. Let me find
What was
my-
it, $344.86, if I'm not mistaken, Don?
You're correct.
Which would put her at what? What would be the total instead?
Be
Is it $923?
$923.08.
Okay, so if the committee, any additional thoughts about this? Do you agree with Alder Edwards, or do you agree with Alder Douglas, or do you have a different proposal? I will tell you that I agree with Alder Edwards. I actually agree with both Alder Douglas, but giving the leniency that we want to provide, I guess Alder Edwards has some suggestion to forgive the interest and have her pay the total amount owed. And if she doesn't pay it, then the interest will be accumulated yet again. And unfortunately, it's a trend that we're seeing with this particular individual. So would you like to officially make that motion, Alder Edwards?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would like to make the motion that we remove the interest only from Ms. Allen's account, and that she is responsible for the remaining balance of her $1,267.94.
Which will make it,
Which will make it $900
$23.08.
Yes, thank you for your help.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Saying none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I apologize. I take that back. Alder Douglas, I do apologize.
well, I'll just agree with my colleague, Alder Edwards. Time will tell. We'll see.
So here's
I'll
the thing,
just go-
Alder Douglas. Alder
Yeah,
Douglas,
I'll
I
go
think
along
that in the spirit of charity, I think that even if she were to not pay the total amount, the interest will come right back. So it's just we're trying to give her some assistance by removing a portion, which is about a 25%. And if she is failing to do so, unfortunately, she'll have to pay that as well. Alder Singh.
Right. You're right. Absolutely right. So I'll go along with Alder Edwards.
I'm
He has
sorry.
a kind heart, and I'll join that kind heart.
I'm
I
sorry.
appreciate it.
This was vote on second already. Can we still deliberate?
We're still in discussion. Yes.
I understand all my colleagues, all the Edwards and all the Douglas. If we were gonna forgive the interest, can we put a timeline that says she pays within so many times to forgive, not it goes back?
I think it's already automatic. If we give her this, if we grant her this pardon or this deferment, or if we deny or remove the interest, I believe she has until, Don, what is the exact date that she has to pay?
Normally, they have 90 days from the day the board approves it.
Right.
If you want to give
90
her
days, yep.
more time to do it, then that has to become part of the order.
Oh, I'm not sure.
No, I think 90 days is more than enough.
Yeah.
I think that if she's able to come up with $250 every month for the next 3 months, she should be more than enough in paying that away.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so all in favor, indicated with an aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The items have it. So we will go ahead and waive the interest for this item, and we will have her pay the total amount of $923.08, which is the actual balance. Does anybody want to move items 4, 5, and 6 together? Even 7?
No, should 4 be alone or no? I didn't know since.
Yep, it's up to you, whatever you wish, Alder.
I guess I move item number 4 since the gentleman was here. Maybe do it on
Yes, very
alone.
good. Very good. The item has been moved.
Second.
Okay, item has been moved second. And discussion. What should we be doing with item 4, Madam Roth?
I would grant it. I think he qualifies, and his explanation, I mean, what has happened to him and his explanation that he'll use this time to pay down his mortgage and then won't, I mean, he definitely had a plan. He won't have those mortgage payments and then he'll be able to pay his taxes. So it would be great to be able to be helpful as he deals with this.
So what in specific are you asking? Deferment of for the next year, or do you want to do the whole 3 years, 3.5 years? What
I
exactly
think
are
we
we
only
doing?
have
here?
authority to do the 1 year, and then
1 year. Yep.
the theory is he
Come
would
back the next.
come back. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So motion to approve this deferment of collection for another year for item number 4. Is that your motion?
Yes,
Can I
that
hear
is
a
my
second?
motion. Thank you.
Second.
Mr. Chair.
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
yes, yes,
You're not delaying it for a year. You're just abating it per the program.
got
There
it.
is no time frame. This year's taxes will be due whenever he's able to pay it. Next year, he has to come back before the board to get requested again because we don't know what the taxes are going to be.
Got it.
That's why they only do it for 1 year.
Thank you
And
for that
some of
point
the
of clarity.
seniors, unfortunately, I have to hear from them each year just to know that they're still with us.
Yes. Got it. Very good. Thank you, Donald. Alder Singh.
And this information would goes out to the gentleman that this is just for a year and you have to come back, so you understand that it's not deferred for 3 years, as he
Yes.
may think.
I will
Yes.
explain it to him again.
Thank you, sir.
Even the email would suffice as well, just so that he can have something in writing. So let's go ahead and let's cast a vote. All in favor to approve item number 4 being deferred?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstention? The item passes.
I move items 5 through 7.
Items have been moved,
Second.
has been seconded. What does the committee wish to do?
I move to grant these all because they all qualify. Is that, now I'm forgetting the, or I think that's the case, but correct me if I'm wrong. Wait, let me pull it back
Yep.
up. Okay.
You're correct. You're correct.
Thank
with the
you.
wrong. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I second.
Discussion? No discussion. All in favor to approve item 5, 6, and 7 due to the fact that they qualify for this particular deference, say aye.
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 Any nays? Any abstention? The item passes. Items 5, 6, and 7.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shaw had requested that it be sent UC to the next
Okay.
board meeting. If that is
Certainly.
all right with the committee, I will do so.
I'm going to ask the committee. I would say that it would be prudent for us to do so. What does the committee say?
I'm in agreement.
I'm in agreement, or second if we need to second it officially, but
Do we need an official motion, Don?
No, just as long as the committee is
Yes.
in agreement.
So
for
the entire committee, yes, you have a unanimous consent from the committee to have it UC.
Right.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll entertain the
Move to adjourn.
And I'm sorry.
Can I get a second?
Second.
No discussion. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for the great work that you've done today. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Al.
Great job, everyone.
Yes.
don't you ever come to a meeting without your earbuds again if you're going to be in the same spot, okay? That's all.
Everyone have a safe and wonderful evening. Be safe. Wash those hands, wear those masks whenever you need to, and so on.
Good night, colleagues. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.